In harmony with our family, in harmony with our community, in harmony with our world, we should all be aging with harmony. Join Erica Sell for thoughts, trends, and tips in the world of aging and senior living. Here's your host, Erica Sell.
And I'm Wade Taylor, co hosting this premiere episode of Aging with Harmony. And in this segment, we're going to continue with our guest, Dr. Joseph Casciani, PhD. He's a licensed psychologist specializing in seniors, mindset, and longevity. And we encourage you, if you missed the first portion of this interview, you will find that online, where we talk about how our mindset influences our health, especially if we're recovering from some kind of surgery or acute condition, and how that leads us to enjoying life as it continues on. And as I understand, Eric, in this segment, we're going to start talking a little bit about the community that person lives in, because no person is an island.
No. Yes. Yeah. We want to get in a little bit to environment and community and how that influences mindset and attitude of seniors and people who are aging. When polled, 92% of seniors in America say they want to live at home, but sometimes that changes. And I'd like to hear a little bit about how the environment and community can influence our mindset and attitude. Doctor?
Sure. That's true. Older adults, seniors do want to live at home. They want to stay independent. They don't want to stop driving. They don't want to give up their friendships. They don't want to give up their pets. They don't want to give up their familiar daily routines. And we want to support that. Of course, we want to support that. We always talk about having conversation. The adult children need to have conversations with their mother or father or maybe both parents. What's going to happen when you can't live any longer? What should we do? What are the steps we should be taking now? What kind of research should we do to, be prepared? We don't want to wait till the hip fracture and we can't live at home anymore. We don't want to wait for the stroke and you can't live on your own. So we want to have that conversation in advance. So mom and dad can be prepared, and we can look and find locations, find either independent, residential, or we might need some assisted, like assisted living, or we might need a skilled facility. So we want to cover the bases and really be ready for that, because the more we can involve the individual senior in that decision-making and in that discussion, the more ownership they'll have, and there isn't that resistance. We don't see that very often, but that's the ideal. That's the recommended procedure, because again, as the person is more involved and recognizing the strengths and weaknesses, and they can see what their options are, then when the change is needed, it's easier to make. And again, it's that how we interpret that event. Does the person say, "Oh, gee, I can't live on my own anymore. That means I'm getting old. I'm going to die soon"? No, it certainly doesn't. It means you can't live on your own anymore, but you still have a new life, and you can still create new friendships and create new routines. So we have to be careful about that negative interpretation of a single event. It's how we interpret that, how we label that event makes all the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we have more of an opportunity to label it positively if we had that conversation and thought and choice structure that you just laid out beforehand. I feel like a lot of families miss the mark here, and it's a conversation that's avoided for too long. Maybe they don't want to have it, but if they did, then when those choices were presented, they kind of would have already been made, and they feel very much a part of that decision and are mentally, maybe subconsciously, even after they had the conversation, it might be years later when they might have to decide, what kind of senior living community they want to go to if that's necessary. Maybe they're processing it subconsciously just because they had the conversation, and then it's more palatable. It's easier to process when that moment comes.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Erica. It's the planning and preparation that takes all the tension, all the distress out of those decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be excited then. I mean, it's a change, but when I've had some of my clients go into senior living communities in assisted and independent, I think there's a lot of things to be excited about there because they're going to be a lot more social, a lot more socialization that can happen in those places than at home when someone gets to the point that they may need to go there. Because when they're at that point, they tend to not be getting outside of their home too much.
Yeah,
So,
I call it getting out of your comfort zone because we're used to our familiar neighbors, our home, whether it's at a house or an apartment. We're used to our usual route to the grocery store, and
right.
sometimes we do need to get out of that comfort zone and open new doors and see what new opportunities are because those open doors give us a lot of new energy, a lot of spirit and creativity and drive that we didn't have when we were in our old situation. So it's a little anxiety producing, but it also offers a lot of rewards. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I think that's the way that the world, the universe will often deliver. It's something that is little nerve-wracking and a challenge, but once they move through that and look into the positives that can happen in that future, a lot of beautiful things can happen, like new relationships. That's the biggest piece that I've had with my clients and their stories are the friends that they've made going into a senior living community. So that I think that can be exciting for people who aren't wanting to let go of the past, and maybe some of those story sharings from other seniors going through the same thing.
Oh, yeah, they're not alone. There's a speaker named Dan Sullivan, and he has this line that says, our future should be bigger than our past. And I heard that, and I said, wow. For somebody who's 65, 75, 85, how do you have your future be bigger? Well, it means you've got the past, and you can't recreate the past. You've got great memories, but you can't go back. You can't live in your past. You have to look forward. You have to be looking into the future. So if we let our future be bigger than our past, no matter where we are, how far we are on our journey, we can still look forward. And, okay, we can't recreate the past, but we've got good memories of it. So let's focus on today and tomorrow.
What we can, right?
Yeah.
What we can change. Yes.
Yeah.
You were talking about community, so I'm just going to take this moment. We've got about 3 minutes left in the interview to mention Dr. Cascianis Community, which you can find at LivingTo100.Club, LivingTo numeric 100.Club, and he's got a community of people interested in longevity. So we've got a couple of minutes left, Erica. Please continue.
In regards to your work at the nursing home, so 9 states and 800 facilities had taken on some of your work. What are the outcomes they were seeing in the beginning that had so many facilities adapt the same programs?
Mm-hmm. There's really two groups of mental health professionals in long-term care. One group focuses on depression and adjustment, and the other group, which I was closer to, is kind of rehabilitation and helping the person get over their physical setbacks, usually the acute condition, and get back home. And we always need the help with the depression. But when I've worked with a lot of psychologists and kind of trained them, so we always were working closely with the rehab team. And when we were able to work alongside the therapists and help this person deal with their, motivation, depression, hopelessness, resignation, we found terrific outcomes. The patients were much better able to get through physical therapy, speech, or occupational therapy because we addressed those psychological barriers. And that's the key. When we want to help these individuals age successfully, we really have to help them get through those psychological barriers and really helping them see that there's a lot of residual strength there, and it's not just the effects of stroke. You can't walk anymore, but there's still a lot of residual strength. So that the outcomes were very positive, and
Yeah.
facilities were very eager to have mental health professionals do that work alongside their rehab teams.
That's fascinating. That will help me share with my clients, because I don't hear today, at least where in our community in San Diego, I don't hear too many side by side. It's the therapist, the OTs, the PTs, and the psychologist or a mental health professional. I don't hear that narrative too often from my clients, and makes a lot of sense, and could be a missing piece of the puzzle for so many.
Yeah, it's a great partnership. It's a great partnership. And if you know Medicare, but it would allow people to stay on Medicare Part A longer because they were making progress in rehab. Because if they stop making progress, they lose their benefits.
Well, very good. We've
Right.
got to leave it there, but I love that. Accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative is at the root of the concept. And so great information from Dr. Joseph Casciani, PhD. Again, you can find more about him at LivingTo100.Club. And this ends the inaugural interview of the premiere show of Aging with Harmony with your host, Erica Sell. We'll be back in a moment with more.